it's Tracy Jackson, also known as a spiritual cheerleader, and I'm coming to you with lesson 16 from A Course in Miracles. I have no neutral thoughts. Wow, profound, right? So there's no idea or no concept of a neutral thought. And I want to just read the line here. It says, there is no more self-contradictory concept than that of idle thoughts. What gives rise to the perception of a whole world can hardly be called idle. Every thought you have contributes to truth or to illusion. Either it extends the truth or it multiplies illusions. You can indeed multiply nothing, but you will not extend it by doing so. And it says, besides your recognizing that thoughts are never idle, salvation requires that you also recognize that every thought you have brings either peace or war, either love or fear. A neutral result is impossible because a neutral thought is impossible. And it goes on to state that, there's a temptation to dismiss fear thoughts as being unimportant, as being trivial, as being not worth our time. But it's saying that it's essential that we recognize those thoughts because they're destructive. They can be equally destructive and also equally unreal. And so the exercises for today are helping us to recognize that. And so our exercise language is this thought about blank, you fill in the blank, is not a neutral thought. And also concluding with this thought about whatever it is you're looking at, blank, is not a neutral thought because I have no neutral thoughts. We give meaning to everything. Everything has a positive or negative meaning, even if we don't really necessarily intend it to have one of those. We have given it some meaning. And this builds on, again, what we talked about yesterday in the fact that our thoughts are making the images that we see. So today, really practice in to the fact that, there's no neutral thought that you really have. It's either, promoting one thing or promoting another. And so what do you want to be promoting in your life today, right? This is really helping you to recognize the thoughts that are coming up for you and recognize them as being, basically either love or fear. I look at, the car that gets me to work every day. I might see that with love. But then I'm driving on the way to work and I see another car and it cuts me off and I get angry and I get upset. Well, now my thought about that car is not a neutral thought. It's a negative thought, right? So it's a thought of fear. So just analyze that for yourself today. It says 4 or 5 practice periods are recommended. Obviously, if you are experiencing strain, you can limit the amount of those practice periods. But this lesson is really at the heart of recognizing that every day in every thought that comes up for us, we are either, advocating for love or advocating for fear. And this really goes to show us that we have a choice in how we view things, in how we see things. And that's not to say that I don't still look at things from a fearful standpoint. That happens all the time. But because of the fact that I have had the training with the course, many times I am able to see it as a fearful thought. And then I step back for a minute and I say, okay, how can I see this differently? Or I ask, God or a higher power, whatever you want to call it. But I ask God, help me to see this differently. And then I'm able to see that person or that situation from a different standpoint, and I'm able to see it with a more loving viewpoint. And again, this lesson really hits home and drives home the fact that I'm putting some value onto every thought that comes into my head. There is no thought that's just like, yep, that's cool. Like there's no like it has to tilt at least one way. So I hope that helps you guys today. I hope that you guys are still continuing on with reading through the workbook lessons of A Course. I promise that, these first couple of lessons and everything, they can seem a bit much. And sometimes we resist them because they are so counter to the way that we have thought in our entire lives. And so I just really encourage you to keep going with it, because as we move towards, once we get through this first part of the workbook, the first part of the workbook is really about unlearning. The second part of the workbook is really about, basically rewiring the brain with the correct thoughts, if that makes any sense. And I hate to use the word correct because that implies something is not correct, but it helps you to have right-minded thinking as defined by the Course. So I hope that helped you guys today. I hope that you guys are enjoying these lessons each day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.